Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Edward Giles, aka the Holistic Motivator. Today I have the pleasure of being here to talk to you about how the mental clutter can be causing the physical clutter, which then keeps the cycle going on and on. So I'm just going to share with you some ideas of what is mental clutter, what's taking up space in your mind, causing the stuff that's taking up space in your real space. So think about everything that you think about every day. It could be really organized or it can be cluttered, right? So you ever said, I have too much on my mind, or I have too much on my plate? I have too much on my mind, I have too much on my plate. Or I just can't seem to think right. Right? Does that ever happen? You're like, I just can't seem to think right. Well, what's happening is there's mental clutter. Okay, so I'm going to talk about mental clutter. You really want to stick here. Okay, so what are some examples of mental clutter? Things that you know you need to do and you haven't gotten to do it. A big part of mental clutter are the things that we're procrastinating on. I really want you to think about how many times per day you think to yourself, man, I have something to do and I didn't do it. How many times per day? Now, multiply that by 7. That's how many times per week. Now, multiply that by 4. That's how many times per month. So I want you to think, how much time do I spend thinking about the outstanding task? That is mental clutter. Now, why would that be mental clutter? Instead of thinking about how to do things now, we're stuck thinking about the things we didn't do, we should have done, and we could have did. And then that brings about shame. Shame. The second mental clutter. Thinking about what are they thinking? Thinking about, hey, I didn't stick to my words. Shame. That's another clutter. One of the most cluttered ways is shame. I don't know what they're thinking about me. I don't know if I'm shame. Takes up a lot of space because you don't even have the time to think clearly, right? So that's what shame does. Procrastination leads to shame, and that takes up things in your mind. Now, what is something else? Guilt. Guilt. Now, you shame yourself, and somebody else can inflict guilt upon, well, not inflict, but get you to realize something you didn't do, right? So let's say you meet up with somebody and you're talking to them. Yeah, procrastination is the key destroyer to being creative. Let's say you meet somebody, you're talking to them, and then all of a sudden you were reminded of the $40 you owe them. So you're like, I owe you $40, but I'll get it back to you. Now, you had something to tell them important, or maybe you just wanted to hang out with them, have a good time. But automatically you're trying to talk to this person, the first thing that comes in your mind is the clutter. So when you have clutter in your mind, it shows up wherever you go. Now, instead of having a pleasant experience, you're now experiencing clutter. So that's why you can change up your space. But if your mind is still cluttered, it's only a matter of time before your mind matches your space or the space matches your mind. So yesterday I talked about why is it important, or I didn't say why is it important, but I talked about how literally the physical clutter in your life causes mental clutter, which means it makes you feel drowsy or brain foggy or unproductive. That's the physical clutter in your life causes mental clutter. Today I'm reversing it, how mental clutter leads to physical clutter. So what does that mean? The issues that we are having in our mind come out in the physical realm, and it becomes things. It's stuck energy, okay? So everything that's stuck in our mind becomes things. So let's say a sense of forgetfulness, a sense of forgetting things, right? Like, yo, I'm not remembering where I put my keys, or I can't even remember where my drawer is at, right? A sense of forgetfulness, not in our mind, like we forgetting things, we're like our minds are being clouded. And what can be some reasons why we forget things? Maybe we're slowly killing our brain cells because of something we're ignoring. Maybe we're not eating like we should be. Maybe we're not sleeping like we should be. Hence, our memory diminishes. So now in our mind, we can't seem to remember things. But then now, all of a sudden, not only can't we remember things, we can't remember where we put them. So now we tend to put things everywhere. So we had a mental clutter that was done, that happened because of decisions. For instance, a decision to not go to sleep on time, a decision to not eat the right food, a decision to not exercise, a decision to overdo it on the ganja. Not saying, yeah, right, just a decision to drink too much. Now, that accumulated over time, our memory starts to diminish. I found myself at some point, especially in college. College, man, too zooted. I would start forgetting things, and I'd be like, ah, man. So it was clutter in my mind. Now it happens to clutter in your life, okay? So a couple of tips, right? Let me give you tips in between is have a specific spot for the things that you take out every day. Like I do it. I have a drawer with drawer separators, and there's a section for wallet, keys, and unfortunately now mask. Unfortunately. Wallet, keys, mask. And every time that I need those, I'll go find them. You get what I'm saying? So it becomes a little bit easier now to remember things by having places for things specifically and putting things back in their spot. So as we start to work with our mental clutter, our physical clutter starts to change. Okay, so let's say we have a clutter, let's say we have a mental, let's say we've replaced love with the love of knowledge. We've replaced relations with the relationship with our work. Okay, I did that. I pretty much did that the last 3 years. Okay, so this is personal for me. And what I mean by that, Kat, stay with me. What I mean by that is, at some point I said, I don't need any woman in my life. And the reason I said I don't need a woman is because in college, I thought to myself that women are gonna be distractions. Because I'm thinking like, if I get a girlfriend, I'm gonna have to tend to a girlfriend. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grow in on myself, right? I'm not gonna get many girlfriends or even one girlfriend. I'm just gonna be single, ready to grow. So I spent more time at the library than I did going on dates, right? I really didn't, right? No love relationship. So basically I replaced the love with knowledge. So if you go in my room or you go in my space, you're gonna see a lot of books. You go on my computer, you go on my messages, you go on the last things I've been doing, you're gonna see learning, right? Not much relations. So in your mind, you might be psychologically replacing something like, yo, I don't need any relationships. And then now you have it in your physical space where you substitute the spouse for knowledge. So instead of having a makeup drawer, you have like a bunch of books. So what's going on in your mind starts to represent itself in your space. Now, right? So let's say in your mind, you're feeling a bit confused, right? You don't really know where to go next. You know, you wanna go somewhere, but you don't know where to go next. You don't know what the future holds. There's a like a fogginess, right? There's a fogginess in your life. So your space is gonna tend to be cluttered as well, because there's a clutter in your mind that leads to the clutter in your space. So you might be thinking, does the space clutter come before the mental clutter? Which ones come first? They both go, it's an arrow that goes together. Does the clutter in your mind come first, or does the clutter in your space come first? Well, I would say your willingness to take action on your mind, or your willingness to take action on your physical clutter, is going to determine how you change, which one you change first. But it's to know where it started from, that's just too deep for me to know about you specifically. So we won't even get into that. But let's just say you notice physical clutter. And then now you might say, I have some mental clutter. Now, can you clear up your mind in a day? No. Can you resolve an internal conflict in a week? I don't think so. Can you resolve and heal from your traumas in a month? Maybe after a retreat. I don't know. Maybe after a conversation with God, possibly. But how easy it is to put your head down, throw some stuff away, and clean up your space. That you can actually do. If you want to do it in a day, you could do it in a day. If you want to do it in a week, you can do it in a week. You see? So I often say that the mind is where a lot of things originate from, but it's hard to change the mind. So what I say is change the physical. Okay? Same thing with your body. Now, you might be very anxious, or depression season is upon you. I've experienced my depression season, and in the cold moments of my life, what I noticed was I all of a sudden it's hard to fix a mind with the mind that caused the problem. So it's easier to help the body so that now the mind can be more clear. So what I mean by that is we can work directly with the physical because we can feel the tension in the physical. We can see the clutter in your space. You can feel the hurt in your shoulders. You can feel your chest caving in, right? You can feel your shoulders tight. You can feel tension. But can you see the tension in your mind? It's a little bit more difficult. So I say the mental clutter is resulting in your physical clutter, but start with this physical clutter first. So now that way, now that mental clutter, now you can start working in your mind. Now you're working in your mind right now, right? This is helping you with the clutter. We all have a sort of clutter in our mind. Outstanding things we got to do, guilt, shame. Guilt, shame, outstanding things, the feeling of not being good enough. The feeling of, will I ever make it? Those are all clutter. What he or she said last night, my relationships, this person that's taking up so much space in your mind, these are mental clutter. Now, these things must be dealt with, but it's hard to deal with all of these things all at once. So if you're going to wait till you figure out your mind to clean your space, that's going to take too long. So I'm challenging you because I love you. I'm challenging you to clear your space up, right? To clear up your space. I spent like a whole year. I walk in my room, clothes everywhere. Clothes everywhere. I'm transparent with y'all. I know I'm not perfect, right? And I know that this is what helped me grow. I'm like, clothes everywhere, things everywhere. It's just a mess. My mind was being a mess. My mind was a mess too. My mind was in a mess too because I knew who I was, but I kept doubting myself. I kept feeling ashamed. I kept thinking about, yo, I should be this far. I'm too talented. Right? Or I'm like, why am I so talented? I'm self-sabotaging. Right? So those are all mess, shame, guilt. That's all it is. And I call shame and guilt outer space emotions. Right? Because shame can make you experience something that really doesn't even exist. Right? You're experiencing an idea of what you think is happening, or an idea of what you think things meant. So I experienced the shame. I experienced the shame of thinking I'm not where I needed to be. I experienced the shame of thinking like, yo, maybe what I have to share is not good enough. And I told you guys the concept of what held me back for so long was I always thought I needed money to empower people, which is so backed up. I don't get how that even makes sense. How are you a health coach and you think that you need money to empower people? No, you need wisdom about health to help people with their health and then make the money. You get what I'm saying? So I was confused because I thought I was not good enough because I didn't have a lot of money. But I knew I'm talented and I have value to add to people's lives. I knew I'm inspirational, right? I knew that I could pick somebody up with my words. But I was like, well, where's the so I felt deep shame. I was like, should I even talk about success to people? And then I realized that the process is what gives me all these gifts. So some of you may be watching and you may be thinking like, yo, I don't think I'm good enough. That's mental clutter. Yo, I don't think that I'm ready. That's mental clutter. Yo, what would they say? What would they think? That's mental clutter. All of these things in your mind obstructing you from the true reality. I say out of space because in your mind it seems real, right? And I wouldn't tell you this because I'm trying to say you. This is me. I'm able to do this because of my experiences. That's why I say the harder the battle, the sweeter the dream, right? The harder the battle, the stronger the person, the more wise. Like, I realize why God went, like your process gets longer because your success is going to be lengthened, right? The process is longer because God wants you to go a long way, right? I realized that I could have been already successful with strategies, but I would have missed the growth. Now I really understand what the essence is, right? I wake up with the idea whose lives I can touch today. That's what I like. I found out what really life is about. It's just, life is about expressing yourself. Life is about self-expression. Get yourself out here. Get yourself out here. It's not self-impression. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm trying to express to you. If I wanted to impress you, I probably wouldn't tell you some things about my life, right? I'd probably try to hide them, let's make everybody think that I'm this person. But I'm looking to express who I am to you so you can feel me, so you can understand it, so I can touch your heart. So your heart can be like, you know what? I need to go clean my space. I'm gonna clean my space, all right? I clean my space, and now I'm on Facebook and Instagram empowering people, right? But when my space was super dirty, my mind was clogged up, I didn't do these lives. Mind you, I had the same talent, I had the same information, I was the same person. Well, I grew a lot, but I was about the same, and my mentality was different. The shame held me back. So I'm getting into this. I don't know. I tend to listen to where I'm being directed. Some of you, maybe you are feeling shameful of your past, right? Maybe you're feeling shameful of where you're supposed to be. Suppose. I don't even know what that means. Suppose is posing. There's no suppose. Suppose is what they said. Suppose is the social construct. Suppose. You're supposed to go to work. You're supposed to. There was a time where I would listen to Jim Rohn, I listened to all these great speakers, and I would think like, they're sharing great stuff. I was like, how can I share this stuff too? So I was like, do I need to memorize it so I could go share it? And then I would try to memorize and try to share it, and it just didn't sit right. Then I realized that you don't learn to memorize, you learn to grow so you can think, so you can express. So what Jim Rohn did for me is he opened up my mind, and then now, third eye open. Jim Rohn didn't open my third eye. I'm just saying he helped. That was just one teacher. All the other things, all added. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not opening your third eye. I'm just like sharing a piece of my light. That's what self-expression is about, right? I don't change anybody's lives. I will never take credit. I just share light. So some of you may be like, oh, my life is not good enough. I don't know, I can impact nobody. You don't need to change people's lives. You're not Jesus. You don't need to save nobody. All I'm asking you to do is bring yourself out here. That's it. Share yourself. They like it, they don't. Some people look at my videos and they laugh, right? Okay. Bye. Some people look at my videos and they're like, hey, he's not masculine enough. So I'm like, goodbye. I'm just saying that. But what would you think you want to be yourself. You want to express yourself the way you express yourself, right? At some point, I used to be like the nonchalant. You can tell my emotions, right? And I didn't resonate that much with people. But when I realized what my spirit was really holding, it was really just to be free, right? To not try to make an image of like, yeah, I'm the big man here. Yeah, what's up, everybody? I'm the holistic motivator. I'm the big man in the house. Why? Why would I want to do that? Right? Why would I want to try to be something I'm not? I feel myself, right? And what I feel about my heart is that my intentions are good. And you may be like, okay, good intentions never lead to anything good because people are going to take advantage of you. I know. I know. I'm willing to sacrifice. I don't care. Listen, there's somebody across the world right now who needs to hear this, because if they don't, they might think that, hey, there's nothing out there for me. So you think that I'm going to be thinking about what they're thinking about me and then letting this person that needs to hear my message stay in their demise because I'm like worried about what they're going to say? Come on. It's not even about me. It's not even about me. I set up this whole workshop podcast to talk about the mental clutter. And then now I'm talking about a lot about the shame, the guilt, the feeling of they, because those are the things that are clogging us up. Like sometimes we go to a party. I want you to think about the last time you went to a party and you really wanted to dance, or you really wanted to talk to somebody. You just really wanted to express yourself. But you have so much things cluttering up the mind of like, yo, I don't know if they're gonna receive. I don't know if they're gonna like me. And then now you lost the whole experience, right? Because what you're doing is you're thinking about it so much. You're making up some things too. Let's see it as it is. Let's see it as it, and sometimes you gotta be real with yourself. I tell myself this up all the time. You're making this up, right? You're making this up. Like, sometimes you gotta be true to yourself. You gotta really tell yourself this, because you're gonna get yourself out of it. Because you might be saying to yourself, yo, I ain't gonna do, like, you ain't gonna keep up with this. You're gonna go back. Hey, you're making this up. You're making this up. You're making this up. Just tell yourself that. I'm telling you, the mind is something else. And you went through an entire school. They never taught you how to navigate with it. And when you did take psychology class, they wasn't trying to teach you how to think. They were just teaching you how to memorize the psychology, which made no sense. Psychology is not for memorization, it's for mind freeing. Right? I come here and I'm like, here's the key. Free your mind. And then what do I say after every episode? Make sure what you do is the product of your own conclusion. Now, I want you to think about this. What if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? What if the message leads you astray? Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but I want you to ask yourself this question for everybody you hear, including yourself. The foolish person in the world, they say, hey, I'm completely right. If somebody says that, run. If somebody says, I may be wrong, let's see the other side. There's some wisdom there. Stay there. Somebody says, I know everything. Run away. Run away. Okay, so Mary, you said they teach the functionality of the mind. Yes, they teach how the mind works, but they didn't tell you how to make the mind work for you. Right? They give you all the science, but when you're in an 11th grade, the science is good, but you need to say, hey, okay, this is your amygdala brain, this is how it's activated, but hey, this is how you can do something about it. So that's kind of like what I do, is I give you the practical. So they teach the functionality, but they don't teach you how to function with it, right? So it's just like, it's like giving, that's why they cram you with information, and they don't say this is how you take the information, turn it to prosperity. They just cram you with it, okay? So you got to free your mind so that way you can put the information in application, okay? So that's what self-expression is all about. So basically what I just said is, anything I say, let the resonance lead to action, not necessarily saying that everything I say is what it is, but let the resonance of it, let what stuck to your heart, what you felt, act upon it, because truth resonates, okay? So I just share that with you every day because I wanted to share something, I wanted to share something special with you today before you go. I really want you to hear this. Okay, I'm going to explain this to you. I didn't talk about it before, but I feel like if I'm really looking to help you free your mind, I'm going to tell you what I've seen and what I've really seen. So your mindset, though you think it's of your own doing, this is how it's being built up. This is how your perception of life, this is how it's being built up. And I'm going to tell you how your mind up to this point may not have been your own doing. Okay, so let's say you follow the holistic motivator and something I stick with you resonates. And then you start to learn about energy, and you start to learn about Qigong or Yang and Yang or holistic health and wellness, right? Before, you would just seek out to learn these things, and your subconscious mind would literally look for these things in your real world, which means you would go to this place and you'd be noticing this and you'd be like, hey, what is this product? Your subconscious mind would be looking for this. They call this the reticular activating system of your mind, which means once you get your mind going towards a certain way of thinking, you start to attract these things, and eventually your mindset starts to become in this box. But what has happened now is I'm going to tell you, look, I'm looking to help you free your mind. Don't leave. Your mind is not necessarily being controlled by you unless you're being conscious. Because now, what the subconscious mind used to do, the algorithms do. That's what the matrix is. What the subconscious mind used to do, the algorithm does. So instead of you having your mind bringing these things to your awareness, Instagram does it, right? So all of a sudden you followed one person, and then now you can get into the rabbit hole. Now this could be a rabbit hole if you're unconscious, or it can be a staircase to enlightenment. However, if you start to just like, yo, I'm part of this holistic lifestyle, then what happens is you start to see these different things. Now, you might all of a sudden say, hey, I'm really down for Black empowerment. So you say Black Lives Matter. You start to follow people like Shawn King, and then all of a sudden you see Malcolm X videos, and now all of a sudden your mind starts to become Black empowerment. Just that happens. Now, let's say all of a sudden you switch up your mind and you're like, yo, let's say you say anything holistic is no good, right? This is bad. And then you're like, I'm going to be full out religious. Whatever religion you choose, all of a sudden you're going to start to follow people, and you're going to start to see posts, and then these posts also bash the other side. So they talk trash about the other side, and then all of a sudden you're being bought, you're being sold into this paradigm. That's the left and right. Okay, I know I'm going towards a whole different subject here. So that's why if you become a conservative, you start to become more and more conservative, because you literally, instead of your subconscious mind attracting things, or you consciously thinking about different things and thinking for yourself, the algorithms are thinking for you, and now you join the matrix. That's why I tell you every day, question. Because you start to like one thing, now you start to see angel numbers, and you start to see posts about all different things, shadow work, all different things. Now, if you don't come to your own conclusion, anyone can lead you astray. Like I say, if you don't come to your own conclusion, anyone can lead you astray. You can be following somebody who's leading you to a ditch, and then you both fall in the ditch. But you didn't know. So this is hard to get in touch with. It's also like, dang, I need to question this. But hey, if I don't tell you, then I'm not really for you, right? So if I know there's a matrix going on and I'm trying to help and I don't tell you about the matrix, then I'm not for you. So what does this mean? Question posts. Question them. When you read my posts, don't just read it and take it as truth, because it can be false truth. Now I'm using me. I don't think my post is false truth. I just somehow know that I'm not even the one working all these things. I just know that my message is not even just from me. But make sure what you do is the product of your own conclusion. Question it, because you can be brought into a side. How do you know you've been brought into a side? If you oppose every other side. If you don't even want to hear it, there's just a chance you've been brought into the left or right. So let's take Biden or Trump, for example. This is touchy, but we're all humans. We could understand. Let's say somebody said, I'm really for Trump. I'm really for Trump, and anybody on this side, I hate him. But your cousin is on that side. Shoot, your wife is on that side. You hate your wife? You probably don't. You love her. So you see how it is? They play you. They playing with your mind to put you against other things, and that's the matrix. The matrix. Truth is not us against them. Truth is not us against them. Truth is, how do we all grow? How do we get to the best version? And then truth can say, truth doesn't say this is false. Truth just stays true. And then when you recognize the truth, then false, the BS just kind of fall off you. Okay? So, it's really deep. You really want to think about it. You really think about where your mindset is coming from. Question it. Because you may have been algorithm mindset based on the things you like. Right? Like at some point you could have a money mindset that says money is it. Money is success. And you think money is success because you've listened to a bunch of people talk about money is success. And then you saw the post, and you watched the movie, then you got another confirmation. This is your subconscious mind doing that. And then now the algorithms help you. The algorithms are so crazy. Like one post and start to see what's going to happen. Instagram is putting you in a box. They put you in a box. Like literally, they know the type of followers that are just like you. And you're in that box. So check yourself, ask yourself, what box did Instagram put me in? Then ask yourself the same question, did I put myself in the same box? Did I put myself in the same box Instagram put me in? Because that's really going to dictate your mentality. So that's why I like to see things. I like to see perspectives. I'm like, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. But this is my life path. Get what I'm saying? Oh, I can take a little bit from that, but I don't really resonate with that whole thing. I can take a little bit from that, but I don't think that just because I'm gonna take a little bit from that, I'm gonna make this the way to my salvation. Oh, let me tell you another thing to free up your mind. There are also people turning their tools of freedom to tools of salvation. This is the last thing I want to share with you, and then I'm going to go. The tools of freedom are now becoming tools of salvation, where somebody say, hey, I can show you how to be at peace. And then you start to use the same language, and then now you say, I can show you how to be at peace. I can show you how to lose weight, or I can show you how to get rid of this anxiety. And then what we do is we make the tool the savior. Okay, so drinking tea can help you, but why would I want to worship tea? It's just tea. Who made the tea? Okay, essential oils are really good, but why would I want to make essential oils the thing? Well, the movement of the moon. It does tell you a lot of things. And yes, you can learn from it. Yes. But why would I make my horoscope reading becomes my life reality if I can create it? You get what I'm saying? So yeah, you can learn from it, you can look at it, but why would I say my whole life is gonna be this way because I just read this? Get what I'm saying? So the tools that give you information shouldn't be the salvation, because it's just a tool for information. It's a way, it's something. But I think what's happening in our culture is whatever gives us a solid result, in our mind we think, yo, this is also gonna save my soul. And it's a tough one to get in touch with. It's something I've always been meaning to say, and I know that it's hard to receive. But I'm at a point in my life right now where I understand that if you really want to leave your mark, if you really want to make a change in the world, you can't hold things back, because people's feelings are gonna, might be hurt, or they might think, what are you really talking about? But if you like, I'm gonna share with you anyways. And what I'm sharing with you is whatever you learn along the way is a way to improve your life. It doesn't mean it's a way to save your soul. That's my message, and I'm sticking to it. I know this added value to your life, and if it did, share this content to somebody. Comment below, let me know how you received this. And then also, if you want to donate to the podcast, leave a donation by going to edtalksdaily.com/donate. Okay? edtalksdaily.com/donate, or you could donate to Cash App. I want to thank you all for watching. Not every message I share with you is going to be uncomfortable. Some of them will spark your own beliefs. Some of them will get you to, like, man, yo, what are you really talking about? But that's what growth is all about, okay? So that's what growth is all about. It's the things that makes us uncomfortable that helps us grow. That makes us really see. You know what I mean? So I realized that I'm going to share with you what makes you see, because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to convince you to join my side. I'm just trying to help you to just grow. So I want to thank you all for watching. Send a donation by going to edtalksdaily.com/donate. Shout out the smart lady for donating yesterday. Shout out to Elizabeth for donating. Shout out to Shimrandi for donating. Shout out to, who else donated? Yeah, 3 people donated yesterday. Shout out to all of y'all for donating to the podcast. Really helps keep the podcast going. Literally, your donation goes towards the podcast, because the podcast have bills by itself. Thank y'all for watching. Remember, you have the unlimited power in you to achieve whatever it is that you want and to construct the person that you were meant to be. But until you believe it, the world forever miss all your talents, all your gifts, and all the great things that you have to offer. So remember, let your light shine. Don't hide it. Don't dim it. All right, that's my message. I'm sticking to it. Subscribe to the podcast by going to edtalksdaily.com. And then also you can subscribe to the podcast by going to anchor.fm/edtalksdaily. All right, so once you do, leave a review, share with a friend. Peace.